All right, hey, this is Rossstar. We're here at Back to the Beach Day 2, doing something a little bit different right now. We're not interviewing performing artists, we're interviewing the creator of an awesome documentary that will be out soon called Pick It Up, Ska in the 90s. When I first heard about this movie, I said, did this guy read my mind?
Yes.
This is exactly the movie I would have made if I was a filmmaker and inspired to do something like this, and you went ahead and did it, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there are millions of people all over the world, whether they're around our age or not, that will also be into seeing this, which is great.
There are at least dozens of people all over Orange County.
At least 3 dozen that will go see this movie.
Yes. We actually just had our world premiere, and it was sold out and packed and full of Ska fans and Ska Bands, and it was pretty rad.
Now, I don't know much about filmmaking. I would imagine something like this will take a year to 2 years to finish?
Yep, right in between, almost 2 years. By the time it's out on digital and Blu-ray, it'll be 2 years from when we first started.
And what was who was the first interview you did?
The first thing we shot was with the Voodoo Glow Skulls, because I live in a small town in Oregon, Bend, Oregon, and they were coming through right after I first had the idea to make this movie. I was like, oh, I might as well have them come to me, right?
Yeah, perfect.
And they were opening for Reverend Horton Heat, and I asked them if they would do it, just, cold call. I don't know these guys from anything, and they said, sure, come by the venue, and we shot a clip. I mean, it's in the movie. They were awesome, and I grew up listening to Voodoo Glow Skulls, and I'm a trumpet player, and they had some of the sickest horn lines, so I love those guys.
I'll tell you my short version, being introduced to punk ska, and then I'd like to hear yours.
Sure.
I won't bore you with the details, keep it short, but so I started out as pop punk.
Yeah.
Green Day is my favorite band, still is.
Love it.
Ordered everything on Lookout Records, incling, of course, Operation Ivy.
Yes.
And but after Operation Ivy, I didn't really know much else. I was really young. I was in middle school. So one day I was at Tower Records, and young people watching, that was a record store. And
Music used to be a physical thing you could hold in your hand.
yeah. And I told the story last year to the artist I'm about to name. We were looking around the store for CDs that looked punk. You could base it off of the cover. And we stumbled upon the Suicide Machines' Destruction by Definition.
Oh my God, I love that album.
I said, this is one of the coolest covers I've ever seen. It's black and white with the red font, and they're jumping in the air. I said, I gotta check this out. But it wasn't just punk, it was punk ska. It reminded me of Operation Ivy. And I think from there I read the thank yous, and I said, who are all these bands? Who's Less Than Jake? Who's blah, blah, blah? And I think, and that's where it really started for me.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started for me with a band called Five Iron Frenzy. Because I was hanging out with my friends, they were only allowed to listen to Christian music, and so
I'm sorry.
but I got to hear bands like MXPX and all these kind of awesome bands, and Five Iron Frenzy was doing that, but they had horns, and it was ska, and it was upbeat, and I was a trumpet player, and I was like, wow, you can do kind of punk rock cool music with this school band instrument that I've been playing for 10 years. I'm going to do that, and it changed my whole life. I've been playing ska since then, and then right after that, I got into the Boss Tones, and I think the Real Big Fish album wasn't out yet, but it was Boss Tones, Real Big Fish, Save Ferris, Five Iron, and then Rancid, and then way later went back and discovered Operation Ivy just through people going, oh, you don't know about Operation Ivy? What's wrong with you?
You didn't know, but now you know, and it changed your life, I'm sure.
Of course.
So I've yet to see the movie. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the premiere.
Oh, bummer.
I know you mentioned off air there are like 200 bands that you wanted to get for the film.
Yeah.
Is Assorted Jelly Beans in the film?
No.
That's a good one, right?
Yes.
What about the Gadgets?
No.
One of my all-time favorites. You know the Gadgets?
I do know the Gadgets.
It is Goldfish. I'm from Long Island, one of the pioneers of ska out there.
Nope.
So who are some of the others that you did not get in the movie that you wanted to? Maybe I'll learn something right now from the other bands to check out.
Didn't want...
Step Lively in there?
Step Lively is not in the movie. We got our A-list, right? And we reached out to almost all of these bands that you're talking about. We definitely wanted to get like the Planet Smashers and couldn't, and Edna's Goldfish. And those were all timing things. It was not that they weren't into the movie or into being in it and helping tell their side of what is a huge multifaceted story. It just didn't work out timing-wise. And at a certain point, we had to stop adding people because the movie was getting way too long. And everybody kind of said some of the same things,
At the end of it, they have similar stories.
I mean, if you were a ska band in the 90s, you were a ska band in the 90s.
That's it,
Whether you were from Canada or Mexico or Japan or Orange County.
Another obscure one are the Impossibles in the movie.
Impossibles are in the movie.
Wow, okay.
They're one of my all-time favorites.
All right. I like this guy.
I love
He's
the
legit.
Impossibles, and we reached out to Rory on Twitter, I think. Or no, he mentioned us in an interview right after our Kickstarter campaign and was like, I wonder if these guys are going to talk to me.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, heck yeah, we are.
That's a good one. They never got as big as they should have. So hopefully your movie will help some of these bands that never had their moment.
That's the idea. And almost all those bands you mentioned that we didn't interview for the film, they'll show up in old footage or on a flyer in the movie. You know, it's too many bands in photos and flyers and things just to list them all. I don't even remember, because we just finished the movie. You watch it back and every time you notice something different.
That's cool. Yeah.
So like there is something in there for everybody. If your favorite band isn't one of the ones we interviewed for the movie, they're still probably in it.
Every time I would travel in the 90s and go to any record store, I would go right to the ska section. That's how I discovered so many artists. When I was in Las Vegas, I found a band called Attaboy Skip. Have you heard of them?
I have, yeah.
And a little known fact that features one of the Killers and one of the members of Neon Trees.
That is a thing that happened in the 90s. People grew out of ska a little bit and ended up being in very, very popular bands.
And you and I have yet to grow out of it.
I'm never going to grow out of it.
And you still play, and you performed last night with Real Big Fish?
I did. All you have to do is play trumpet your whole life and then spend years making a movie and then organize a huge premiere and invite Real Big Fish, and they have to like the movie, and then you too can play one song one time at one festival with Real Big Fish.
Was that even rehearsed with the band?
No.
They're just trusting you that you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, Johnny, their trumpet player, gave me kind of a hard time the day before. He's like, when was the last time you practiced?
Oh, okay.
Are you any good? Can you do this? Because I guess they've had some other people come up on stage with them and just embarrass themselves.
I mean, in 2005, I got on stage to play guitar with Green Day, and obviously that wasn't rehearsed, and I know what that's like to not be ready.
How'd you do?
I didn't do as well as I did in my room practicing for 10 years before that.
I know what that's like. No pressure.
But it's once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, and there's no pressure playing in front of 20,000 people.
No, and at that show, I was probably 40,000 where I was.
Yeah. So,
we both lived it now. We can say we did this.
Yeah, and I did that once before with a little band called Weezer.
I've heard of them.
I don't know if you heard of them, but it was the same kind of thing.
What did you play on stage with Weezer?
Trumpet.
For which song?
I did the guitar solo in Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay. You're playing guitar for that one. That's great.
No. I played it on a trumpet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they did a hoot.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they did a weird thing where they would invite. You couldn't play guitar really. It had to be like a violin or a flute or a trumpet or something, and they do like 2 songs. Last year, we did a lot of our filming at Back to the Beach. Last year, it was really convenient because all the bands came to us. You know, we didn't have to go to Florida to interview Less Than Jake or to the Grand Rapids to interview Mustard Plug because they came here, which saved us a lot of airfare. And another thing we did was met with bands like Goldfinger and Real Big Fish, and they would give us just boxes of VHS tapes. And some of them, they're like, I don't know what's on these, but here, don't make me look bad. And we would spend days digitizing all of that footage and watching through it. I've got probably 200 hours of old Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, Aquabats, Goldfinger footage of all these concerts, and we could only use little tiny bits in the movie, partly because we couldn't clear all the music, but it just exists now, and I think besides special features on the DVD, we are going to have one heck of a YouTube channel one of these days of just 90s ska concerts.
I can't wait.
I think I have the world's largest collection of 90s ska footage at this point.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we wrap it up, anything you need to tell us, like I guess a quick update about where they can see it next and how to follow you to get updates on this film?
Yeah, if they go to skamovie.com and follow us on Instagram @skamovie, Twitter, Facebook @skamovie. We have a bunch of screenings. It's in theaters right now all over the world, but very limited release. So if you live in Australia, Mexico, Japan, New York, Boston, DC, LA, San Francisco, there are screenings coming up. But then after that, it's going to be released one way or another on digital platforms and on Blu-ray later this summer, so probably July or August. So keep an eye out. Follow us on social media, go to our website, and you'll get all the info.